I'm Liv and welcome back to my channel Endless Pages. Today's video is my TBR for the month of May. I've lost my goddamn mind and there was so many good readathons happening this month that I wanted to participate in and I didn't. Yeah, I felt like if I didn't participate in all of the ones that I wanted to, I would have FOMO. So this month I am participating in 3 readathons. This is my most ambitious TBR I've ever given myself. There is going to be a lot of repetition with the books because obviously I have to double up on some of the prompts, otherwise my TBR would be just unreasonable. But yeah, like I said, this is the most ambitious TBR I've ever given myself. Like, I'm really excited though. It's an interesting mix of books this for this month. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Okay, so as I said, I'm participating in 3 readathons. So look at this. I want you to see my handwriting, this mess of me trying to figure everything out. So I'm participating in number 1, the May the 4th Read With You Readathon, which was created by Eric from Break Even Books. Yeah, come on, it's May the 4th. I have to participate in a Star Wars readathon, right? Love me some Star Wars. The second is the Royal Readathon, created by Liv from Liv in Magical Bookland and Becca from the Becca Fowl. This is my first time participating in any of the Royal Readathons. I know that this has been a continuous thing going on. So I'm excited to participate in the couples edition. And then the third one I'm participating in is Desertathon. I really wanted to participate in this one because there was a board element and I love anything with like a board or anything like that, so creative, and that is created by Esme from Bookish Buddies. So I believe this is as well the second round they've done of this readathon, but my first time participating. So starting off with the Royal Readathon, for this readathon every prompt is based off a different Disney couple. The first prompt is LGBTQIA plus rep. For that I'm doing The Midnight Girls by Alicia Josinski, I believe, who's an Australian author, and the cover is stunning. So as I keep saying, I am always up to read young adult fantasy, especially if it's written by an Australian author. So this is a young adult fantasy, as I already said, and it's about 2 enchantresses and they are both competing to win the heart of the prince. So it's kind of about their rivalry, but then they start realizing that they might actually be falling for each other. That's all I really know, and to be honest, that's all I want to know about this book. I've heard really great things about it and I think I would prefer to go in with just knowing that super basic plot line. Yeah, so the back just basically says two monstrous girls, 1 heart to consume, and a rivalry that could cost them everything. Yeah, that blurb sounds super intriguing. I've again heard amazing stuff about this, so I'm really excited that I was able to get my hands on a copy, and I'm excited that I was able to pop it on a TBR straight away. The second prompt for the Royal Readathon is read a book with a mermaid or a sailor in it. This is one I really struggled figuring out. I don't read a lot of like books with mermaids or anything like that in it. So I just googled it because I was like, oh, I really don't want to buy a book for this readathon. Surely I have something. And then I realized I had this on my shelf and this apparently has mermaids in it. So this is Tequila Kingdom by Alexandra Cristo. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this book. I don't know why I picked it up. I really don't think it's going to be my thing, but I'm going to give it a fair go. I think I picked it up especially because of hype, and it says on the front, perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo and Sarah J Maas, which I am a fan of them both. This is about a girl called Lyran. I think she's Siren royalty, and then one day she's cursed into humanity by this sea queen. She must deliver the heart of the infamous siren killer or remain a human forever. And then we also have another character, Prince Elian. He's heir to the most powerful kingdom in the world. Captain to a deadly crew of siren hunters, he rescues a drowning woman from the ocean. She promises to help him destroy siren kind for good, but he has no way of knowing whether he can trust her. I mean, it does sound kind of good, but again, that kind of whole siren element is not something that I would normally read. But maybe it's a good chance to kind of, I guess, explore some new stuff and push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit. So I'm really interested to see what my opinions on this book will be. Prompt number 3 is read a book with forced proximity, one of my favourite tropes. So again, I googled this one because I had no idea and realised I had this on my Kindle. This is A Roommate by Rosie Danan. I don't know much about this book. Again, a lot of these books I'm really going in blind this month, which I like. This is basically about this girl, and she moves in with this guy who she doesn't realise. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word on YouTube. He is an adult entertainer, let's just say that. He does videos in that kind of, you know, area, if you get what I mean. And I think it's just about them like kind of falling for each other. It sounds super cute and super fun, and I'm reading a lot of fantasy this month, so a nice little bit of smutty romance will help break up all the fantasy. Prompt number 4 is read a book of secret and or forbidden love. For this one I chose Vampire Academy. This is by Rochelle Mead. This is one of the classic young adult series. Oh, I forgot to take the sticker off, whoops. So I have read this whole series before. I read it in high school and loved it, but I cannot tell you a single thing that happened. And there's a TV show coming out, which is so weird because like they haven't advertised it at all and barely anything is known about it, or it might already be out by now. Yeah, and I believe there was the Vampire Read-Along going on at some point, so everyone's been talking about these books, which has been making me jealous, and I really want to reread it because, again, I can remember like the basic plot, but this is like a long 6-book series, so I'm really excited to jump back into this world, and especially to see how I find it reading it now as an older reader compared to when I would have read it in high school at some point. So it'll be interesting to see if I still love it as much or if I'll just love it because of that kind of nostalgic element to it. So I'm so excited to jump back into this series, and yeah, these covers are atrocious, but anyway. Prompt number 5 is read a book with adventure. For that, I'm going with The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks by Mackenzie Lee. I believe this is a third and final book in the Montagu siblings trilogy. Yes, so I have mixed feelings about this series. The first book, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, I loved. The second book, A Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracies, I didn't like as much. So each book is about a different sibling in the Montagu family. The first book is about Percy. I always forget his name. And Percy is a kind of a troublemaker. He drinks and gambles. Sex with boys and guys all the time, boys and girls all the time, and then he kind of goes on this big adventure around Europe before he is expected to come home and start to run their family business. So it's about kind of all the chaos and fun and adventure and trouble they get into. So that's the first book. The second book is then about his sister Felicity and her adventure. And now this is about the youngest Montagu sibling who we've heard of but haven't met before, because he was a lot younger in the previous 2 books, so we don't know much about him, and there's another reason that's spoilery that we don't know much about him. So I'm really hoping reading this book will kind of make up for my lack of enjoyment of the second book. And Felicity's a character that I loved in the first book, didn't like in the second book, and the third book I'm hoping will redeem her, make me love her again. I can't obviously tell you the plot of this one, but I read the blurb and there is definitely going to be an adventure of some sort. There always is in this series, so that's why I'm choosing this one. Hello, this is Editing Olivia. Welcome to mistake number 1 of this video. So the Royal Readathon, I forgot to read out prompt number 6, and I forgot to also say that the Royal Readathon, you can use one book for multiple prompts. So prompt number 6 was read a book with enemies to lovers, and for that one I am choosing Tequila Kingdom. Okay, back to filming me, sorry. The 7th prompt is read a book that features balls or parties. For that, again, I'm going with The Midnight Girls by Alicia Josinski. I read the blurb and it did mention lots of balls, so that's that. The 8th and final prompt for the Royal Readathon Couples Edition is read a book that you think will make you laugh. For that, I'm going with The Nobleman's Guide to Shipwreck and Scandal. Obviously already talked about this book, but the first book in the series was bloody hilarious. I was laughing out loud. It's the characters are really funny and they get up to funny, silly adventures. There's a lot of good humour, so I'm expecting the humour to continue on in this book. Okay, so that was the Royal Readathon Couples Edition. Let's jump into the second readathon I'm participating in. And again, I'm sorry there will be a lot of repetition with these books, but I thought I would just let you know how I figured it all out and how I'm going to pass all of these readathons. So the second readathon I've got here is the Desertathon Readathon. This was so fun. I have filmed my rolls of the board, so I will show you as I go through. So here's the first roll. So, as you can see, I rolled a 6 and I landed on a wild card, which means I can read whatever hell I want. For that, I chose Cruel Crown by Victoria Aveyard. This is a novella in the Red Queen series. I have been wanting to reread this series for a very long time. I've read the whole series, loved it. It's one of my favourite series. It's a dystopian. It's, I mean, I'm gonna love it. So, I have been looking for an excuse to reread this series for a long time. My eyes always go to it and I keep putting it off because I just personally don't count rereads towards my overall reading goal or my number, if that makes sense. Just because if I did that, I would never read anything new. So it's just a personal way of kind of stopping myself from constantly rereading all month. So that's why I haven't picked it up. And then Genre Garden and Rise Reading Corner announced the Red Queen read-along, so the perfect excuse came along and at the perfect time because it's all I've been thinking about this series. It's one of my favourite series, I love it, and it's been so long since I've read it. So yeah, in May this is one of the books for the read-along, and yep, that's my long-winded explanation. So roll number 2, I rolled a 9 and landed on 15. So I've got my notes here to remember, and the colour I landed on was yellow. So read a book that is randomly generated. I've got my random generator up and ready. We've got a mixture of books on here that I want it to land on and some I don't want it to. I don't know why it's kind of turned into a punishment wheel. We got some manga and then we just got some books that I've either been putting off or... yeah, actually most of the other books I've been putting off, and then 2 manga. So let's spin and see what we get. Please, please be something easy. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I swear the guy's gonna land on something awful. Oh no. Oh, actually that's not too bad. Okay. Legendary by Stephanie Garber. Alright, so as you saw, I got Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I'm really not happy about this. But anyway, the wheel has spoken. So this is, I guess, about this kind of competition, and it's all kind of full of role play, and you go and it's very exclusive. You get a ticket, you go and you compete against other people to kind of solve a not a mystery, but yeah, you follow clues. I'm really not explaining this well. Yeah, and like everyone that's there is like performers, and yeah, anyway. I'm not going to try and refilm that. That's all you get. So we have 2 sisters, Scarlett and Stella, and is that her name? Yeah, it's been a while since I've read this. No, Tella. Huh, okay. And then Tella gets like kidnapped for the game, so it's up to Scarlett to follow the clues and free her and win Caravel. So this is the second book in the series, as I've said. I don't know if I'm not liking this because the first book is from Scarlett's perspective, but this book is from Tella's perspective, who I just don't like as much as a character. I find her a bit annoying. So maybe that's why I wasn't enjoying it. But I got, like I said, about almost 200 pages in. So I probably would restart from the start because I can't really remember what happened. But yeah, wow, that was a crappy explanation. Third spin, I rolled a 17 and landed on 32, and that got me the prompt, read a backlist book, if you can see that. Oh, you can just see my big head. So for that prompt, I have chosen Tales from the Hinterland by Melissa Albert. This is kind of I would say a collection of like short fairy tales. So this is in the series, the Hazelwood series. The Hazelwood series is about this 17-year-old girl who bad luck just kind of always follows her around. And then she gets this letter from this reclusive grandmother of hers, who was the author of this book called Tales from the Hinterland, and she travels to go and find out like what's going on with her grandma. But anyway, this book is the fairy tale book that her grandmother wrote, which I think is so cool and creative, that a book that you read about in this series that they actually publish, and you can read it like you're reading her grandmother's books, which I think is awesome. This is potentially a buddy read with Amy from BookTube with Amy. If she's not really enjoying the sequel, The Night Country, but even if she doesn't enjoy it and doesn't want to read this, I'm still going to read it anyway, because it's been sitting on my shelves for a very, very long time, ever since I started the series and fell in love with it. So yeah, and plus the cover is absolutely stunning. Roll number 4, I rolled a 13 and landed on 35, and for that I got the prompt, read a book with gold on the cover. Okay, hello, editing Olivia here. So I didn't actually land on the colour for that card that said read a book with gold on the cover. I actually landed on the prompt, read a previous DNF, but as I'm on Team Scorpion, our one ability is we are able to change which prompt we want to choose off that card if we didn't like it, and that was an ability you can use once. So I decided to pick the gold prompt instead. So just there to clarify. Okay, bye. For that one, again, I'm just going to say Tequila Kingdom by Alexandra Cristo. I rolled a 19 and landed on 54, which was a wild card. For that, I chose The Silent Patience by Alex Micheleti. This is about a woman who appears to be in this perfect, happy, loving marriage, and then one day she shoots her husband like 5 times in the head and doesn't really give a reason why. She hasn't spoken a single word since. And then we also follow a psychologist, I believe, who really wants to interview her and get down to the nitty-gritty, I guess, of why she killed her husband. I know this is a super popular thriller, and I've been wanting to read more adult thriller, and I got this book recently, and I even though a lot of these books on my TBR are old books and I was trying to put older books on there, couldn't help myself and put a newer one on there because I'm just so excited about it. Number 6, am I up to? Yeah, I rolled a 7 and landed on 61. That prompt was, what one was it? Yes, read a book that you recently acquired. There we go. So for that one, again, I'm just doing the Midnight Girls for the 3rd time. Finish off the board, I rolled an 8 and I landed on the wild card little square, and for that I'm just doing the roommate. The final readathon is May the Force Read with You Readathon. This is obviously the Star Wars themed one. I'm going to be reading for the dark side. So I chose a dark side because I liked the prompts better. So there was the light side, the dark side, and there was neutral. And one of the abilities of the dark side was that you could swap one of the neutral prompts out for one of the dark side prompts if you didn't like it. So I've done that for one of the prompts. I can't remember which one. But yeah, so let's just jump into it. Prompt number 1 is read a book under 250 pages. So again, I'm just saying Tales from the Hinterland. I think this is 220 something pages I checked. I double checked before I picked it for the prompt. 223 pages, so perfect. Prompt number 2 is read a book with a pretty cover. Again, I'm just going to say The Midnight Girls because this cover is stunning. Prompt number 3 is read a horror or a thriller. Again, The Silent Patient is a thriller. Prompt number 4 is start a series, and for that I'm going with Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Like I've already said, I'm doing it for the Red Queen read-along, and for May it's read The Red Queen and the Cruel Crown, so perfect. So the final prompt for the May the Force Read With You read-along, and this whole video, thank God, is people or pets choose a book for you. So I got my mum to choose. I showed her this stack here and was like, pick one for me off of this stack, and she chose The Jess Show by Anna Carey. This is meant to be like a teenage young adult kind of Truman Show. This girl is dealing with all the usual high school stuff and drama, and her sister is really sick, I think, as well. And then one day this black block kind of like falls out of her friend's bag, and she it's an iPhone, but it's meant to be set in 1999, so obviously iPhones aren't around at that time. So she starts to kind of question her reality and her life. I picked this up. Well, I purchased this book because The Truman Show is one of my favourite movies of all time, and they kind of compared it to that kind of vibe, but maybe a bit more young adult, so I'm very intrigued. I remember picking this up years ago and putting it down. I think it was just a mood read thing, so I'm excited to actually jump into this book and see what it's like. Okay, this is my TBR. These 10 books plus the roommate makes 11. Which is just like absolutely insane for me. But obviously I now do like fortnightly vlogs, so keep an eye out in my channel in May for those vlogs, and you get to see me trying to make my way through these books. Let me know in the comments. Place your bets. Do you think I'm gonna actually get through these? Do you think I'm not? Let me know. Bet away in the comments below. Let me know in the comments as well. What's your reading plans for the month of May? How many books do you intend on getting done? Is it as insane as my TBR? And what readathons are you participating in May? As always, all my social media links are in the description below. Give this video a like if you liked the chaotic energy of this video and just like the mess that it was. I really feel like this video was a true representation of the mess that I am. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Subscribe and you can see whenever I post a new video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!